Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Pat with Like Attracts Like Evolution Mentorships, and I'm really grateful that you are here with me today because I feel like today's a pretty important topic. Today we're going to talk into the energy of the runner and the chaser, and why chasing the thing that you think you need so bad is actually keeping it from you. We're going to dive into a specific way to actually shift this energy in your life and begin to see more of a result from a place of aligning with the things that you want to see and be and have and do in your life, instead of from a position of lack, which is chasing and running after these things that continuously and constantly begin to elude you. Stick around, we're diving in deep when we come back. All right, so we have all been there. We've all been in a place where we haven't been feeling so good, and we imagine that if something came into our experience or someone came into our experience that we could be saved, that this feeling that we have, this energy that we're lacking, this position that we wish we weren't in the world would begin to take a different form. It would begin to take a different shape, and we could finally allow ourselves permission to feel better. So we've been conditioned in our life experientially for decades, depending on how old you are, lifetimes, depending on what you believe, to do this, to actually sit in a place of not enough and see and believe that something outside of us could actually make us feel better. And we have a tremendous amount of evidence of this if you think about it. How many times have you been not feeling good, and then something or someone came in and gave you permission in that moment to feel good, and all of a sudden your day was better? This is very much the attitude and energy of someone pre-awakening. Now, we're constantly on this path of waking up to our authentic self and the power that we have inside of us to shift or create or experience a different reality. But the unconscious experience of us is very much giving power to things outside of us to give us permission to feel a certain way inside of us. And all of these things, I would imagine, if you're listening to content like this, have proved themselves to create such a guaranteed state of entropy, of those things falling apart, where you are left asking certain questions, and those questions are really designed to gather information from within and create the experience of who you truly are, to lift the veil on the part of you that feels like you're not enough, like you were never valuable, like you couldn't be loved, like you weren't worth being in the conversation. What am I even doing here? All of those thoughts that come from the society's version of what reality is, and then us living inside of that matrix for long enough. So as you begin to ask these deeper and deeper questions, you start to realize times in your life where you were chasing after things because you were giving them permission still to make you feel better. So as you begin to awaken up to this confusion part, which is like, okay, I get that I'm this powerful creator, infinitely connected to the universe and God, or whatever you want to call it, but also I think this person or this job or this thing, like, I think I'm going to be happier if I get that. So what I want to do is understand that where you probably are right now is in this confusing state of an awakening process where you're still aware of and identifying to some of the mind constructs that represent times in your life when you didn't believe you were enough, that something outside of you could do this for you. And you're also probably slowly shifting into the paradigm where you realize that your power comes from within you, and reality will actually respond to what you are doing in time as you transmute this old energy and this old karmic conscious experiential evidence of the earlier versions of consciousness. So you're walking through your life in a world that represents the story of lack, the story of limitation, the story of, no, this will help you, take this. No, this will help you, do this, get this, go after that. And it continues us in this mode of chasing after things. So if you are in this confused state of observing the mind that is trying to get something, and you are chasing after it, or you're chasing after that person because they make you feel this way, what you have to do in order to get into alignment with it is ask yourself questions about why you're giving the thing power. If you can actually just for yourself believe and know that this thing, this person, this place does not have power over you, that this is something that is given. We have to give permission to offer that in a way that makes us feel bad or makes us feel unworthy. So in order to do that, you have to realize that you are not unworthy. You never were. Come from this place from within and realize that if you're chasing after something, you can't possibly be in alignment with it. The thing you're chasing doesn't want to be chased. The energy of chase implies run. So if you're chasing after something, that implies that the thing you're chasing after is running from you. So if you are in alignment, they will come together. you will come together with what you want if you're in alignment with it. If you're coming from a lack-based thought process, the thing is running from you. So what can I do to shift this? How do I do this? I've been conditioned my whole life to try to run after things or to feel bad if something leaves me. What could I do? The most powerful thing that I have ever experienced for myself as far as shifting this paradigm of runner chaser is to realize that I used to think that the runner used to want to be chased. I used to think that whatever it is that I wanted to be wanted. And that's because I wanted to be wanted. So I was projecting what I wanted from this place of lack onto this person or this experience, really, depending on how far down the rabbit hole you get. This, I believe, applies to everything. It's just easier to use people. But I think anything at all that you want in the world, even if it's an experience, if you want it bad enough that because you think it's going to change your life somehow or change who you are as a person, it'll run from you no matter what. But it's easy to use people. So I used to think that these people that I would chase wanted to be chased. And in hindsight, I know that that's because I wanted to be chased, because for someone to chase me means that I'm valuable. Now, you want me, you want to be with me, you want to love me, you want to care about me, you want to nurture me, you want to do all these things that I was not doing for myself. I wasn't doing these things for myself. So I wanted to, because I didn't think I was worth it. I didn't think I was worthy of anything. I had so much conditioning from my past and so much evidence and experience that I wasn't worth anything from my upbringing and my formative years, and so much example of chaos and things falling apart and things leaving you and people dying. Like I had so much going on, as I know so many of you do, that it just, of course, there was this unconscious story of I'm not enough. Someone please save me. Victim story, help me. And I was giving other people responsibility to do that in my life. And of course, I could play the role in the beginning, like the big postured ego, I'm good, I have everything figured out. That was what I would use to like lure people in, this false sense of confidence. But inside, I was this insecure, insignificant human that was waiting for someone to get to know me enough and still love me. So I would lure people in with this egoic stance of confidence, get someone to like come to me and attract them. But then when I would try to let them get intimate with me and who I am, and I'd start to feel real insecure that they weren't going to love me. And then I would bounce, or I would notice that they would bounce if I started to fall for them, and they were doing the same thing. They would posture, and then I would fall for them, and then they wouldn't want me to get too close, and then they would ghost, and then they would bounce. It's this constant energetic battle of not feeling okay, giving something or someone else permission to make you feel okay. And then once they get that close to you, the real energy comes up and then something explodes. It's just absolutely what happens. So when I started asking questions of the situation, I had to like go, okay, this is consistent. This never has not happened. So the one thing that is not a variable is how I feel about myself and the acting that I know I'm doing in the world to try to attract people, to get them to know me, but I don't really want them to know me because I don't like who I am, and then they ghost. So what is it that I don't like about who I am? What is it that I don't like about how I'm showing up? What is it in my story that I think is too raw for anyone to get close to? They could never love me, blah, 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 victim, sad, lonely story. What is it in that story? And how much of it is true? How much of it is BS? And how much of it is perpetuated by me? I had to dive into my story. And then I had to ask this very icky question. And that is, what power am I giving away to this person in my life to make me feel better? And why won't I give it to myself? Why am I relying on this outside source? And through this process of deep introspection, healing parts of me that I thought were not healable and irredeemable and unforgivable, going through this process of finding who I was to the point where I accepted who I was in a way that I didn't care who knew what happened or who I was or what choices I made. I didn't care. I had accepted them for me. So the shadow parts of who I was that was blocking anyone from coming near me, or that was keeping me in this chase somebody to love me kind of a scenario, I had resolved them within myself, and resolving them to the best that I could. And I'm still on this journey, but this was the answer and still seems to be for me always. Resolving these issues inside of myself and accepting these things inside of myself put me in a state where I was now attracting people who were doing the same thing. And they had a different level of their own journey and the insecurities that they had to clear up and release, to the point where they weren't scared to create an intimate bond with me or anyone else in their life, because they had accepted who they were. And what happens is, instead of this runner-chaser dynamic, you get into a place where two people have come together in such a place and accept themselves for who they are so much that they can let the other person be the fullest version of who they are in that moment. And then this person can let this person be the fullest version of who they are in the moment. And there's a commitment to that process with the other person consciously. It's always by divine design, or whatever definition you want to use here, but it's to lead you back to yourself until you get to the place where you love yourself enough that you can consciously choose another person who loves themselves enough to commit to, and do this for as long as you choose. So ask yourself these questions. What part of you do you feel is unlovable? What part of you do you feel is unworthy? What part of you do you not want anyone to know about you? Those are the things that are keeping you in the chaser mindset and keeping the dynamic in a place where you might attract people, and it might be like love at first sight, and it might be this amazingly utopian experience at first. But that's because the energy underneath both of these humans is a lack or insecurity or something that's driving you to really want to be with somebody else who's broken. And then once you realize how broken you are, not wanting that person to be intimate with you or to know you at all, and just wanting to ghost. So if you can do that, if you can get to these places where you're going to be ready to ask yourself these intimate questions of yourself, you will find that you will actually shift the energetic vibrational scale to a place where you will attract people of the equivalent frequency of self-love and healing. That'll all be done. What it will also do, this is like a little bonus part. What it will also do is, if you're coming from a place of not hiding or needing anything externally from someone or something, when you are in alignment to the best you can be with you, you will very easily be able to discern the difference between other versions of you that come to try to steal that energy. So when you're in a good place, it's less likely that you'll be deceived by somebody who's trying to trick you, like I used to try to trick people, into getting them for you to love them so that they can ghost on you or use you or codependently attach to you and your energy. You'll be more like keen. Your intuition will be fully in a place of alignment with who you are. So when you see something, you'll be able to know exactly what's happening here. You'll know exactly what's going on. Whereas before, when I wasn't aware of this process, I was super easily duped just by anybody who said the right thing because I wanted love so bad. And giving other people power like that over you, A, is an illusion, because you're fully powerful and capable to do this on your own. If you give yourself permission to do that and dive into the deeper questions that you've been scared of, you get into this place where you love you. From loving you fully and authentically to the best you can, you will then be able to overflow that into other people and other experiences in your life. And I'm telling you that the right person for you, based on that frequency of alignment, will bang right into your life, and you will be able to know for sure who that is. You see that light come on? That was wild. You will be able to know for sure that this is exactly what you asked for, because you will no longer be in a place of longing and chasing after it. And that is what I wish for each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. If you have any questions, or if you want to dive deeper into this process in your life, the one-on-one 6-week mentorship with me personally, applications are open. There's a link wherever you're listening to this video or watching this video. Have an amazing day, a wonderful night, and I'll see you next time.